Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Turnin Dirt podcast, where we talk all things agriculture and maybe a few other notable topics. This episode is powered by Mazergroup. Mazergroup is a family-owned and operated New Holland dealer complex consisting of 18 locations across Saskatchewan and Manitoba. I'm your host, John Mazer. Tyler's here.
Hi, John.
Hi, Tyler. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm real good.
That's good.
For our listeners out there, Tyler Roberts is in the booth today. He is Director of Sales for Manitoba for Mazergroup. Very important asset to us. He came, you know what, I'm going to let you tell your story. I was going to tell that because you came on, quick little blurb before I ask you. You came on right when it was in that marketing position we just talked about in there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I was sitting right across from you, and that was a great fucking day, man, because, it was your transitions from New Holland because you were maybe going to go somewhere else. Maybe let you tell that story. But what I'd like to do right now, Tyler, first is you're with Mazergroup. You've been here coming on, it's 8 years, 6. It was 2016, wasn't it?
17. June of 17, yeah.
June of 17. So I was just tailing out of that job.
Yes.
Then. Oh, okay,
Yep.
right on, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you've been with us since 2017. You were with New Holland before that. How did the career in ag start for Tyler?
How far do you want me to go back?
However far you want. Yeah, like you can go to school, because it started as a mechanic, did it not?
Well, let me go back just a little bit further.
Yep.
Just let me get you my passion into ag. So,
Yes.
my mom's family has a farm in Cardiff, Saskatchewan, and so always loved being on the farm as a kid. Anytime we could go Christmas, Easter, or whatever, I absolutely loved going there all the time. And at about the age of 10, 11 years old, I decided that when school was out, that's where I was going in the summertime. And I would kick and scream basically to come back like 1 or 2 days before school would start. So I did that from, for sure, 11, 12 years old all the way to 18.
Spent summers at the farm.
Worked at the farm, spent summers at the farm.
Yep.
Absolutely loved it. All my siblings were up at Clear Lake having probably a blast, and I was out the farm working, but I was in my happy place, and that's where I like to be. So
Nice.
that grew my passion for agriculture and for farming as a city kid, I guess you call me, right?
Sure,
So,
yeah. Yeah, because it's typically, somebody in the ag industry, well, I guess not in the retail side, but certainly in the farmer side of it, there is a past.
yeah.
You don't just get into farming now.
No.
It's impossible.
And as the years went by, my uncle got more involved in the farm, and he was more cattle. And so my grandparents were grain, so I got to do kind of both sides of the business. So in later years, I did work more for my uncle than I did for my grandparents. But it just, when harvest started, it really sucked because I had to go home, and that's just when the fun time was about ready to get rocking and rolling. So
the therapy that is the cab of a combine.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I every day after school, I remember going out and riding along with Dad when he was hard into it. He kind of still is into it, but not as much. But no, totally get it. Okay, so high school ends.
So then, so high school ends, and actually in the meantime, I was taking a career prep course, and I thought I wanted to be a police officer. So I did a 6-week stint with the Brandon City Police, and quickly realized that there was a lot of crap going on that I just really had no interest in, and I didn't see the whole paperwork side of the business, and it's not out driving around writing tickets and
that's what you went for, right?
That's what as a 17, 18-year-old, you think that's what you're going to do, right? But I realized real fast that that's really not what that was. So my second placement was, and I'm going to put an X on this, was the John Deere dealer in town. I did a career prep with them. And I got to work on some equipment in the afternoons and started to really enjoy myself. And then just out of the blue, the service manager came and said, "Hey, we need another person in the back shop. We'll put you through school. Are you in? We go for your journeyman's ticket." So, okay, well, what the hell?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go for it, right?
Yeah.
So, I did my 4 years at ACC, worked for the dealer, got my journeyman's heavy duty ticket. And it wasn't too long after, maybe a year after I got my ticket, needed to do something different. I just kind of was done doing that or whatever. And I did, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I did a year stint in the oil patch.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like in Manitoba?
Actually close to Weyburn, Griffin, Saskatchewan.
Okay, right on, yeah.
So I worked for Ensign, just as a roughneck. And
so you were on the rigs?
Right on the rigs, yep.
Nice.
Yep.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of respect for those guys because, you just go down there and you immerse yourself in it, and like you live on site, do you not?
No, I was actually driving back and forth every day. Yeah, you could stay in town if you wanted to, but I'd just rather sleep in my own bed, and it was 8-hour shifts, so it was good that way.
So you're doing this with a heavy mechanics journeyman ticket.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So, geez, I don't know how many stories we want to get into
All
here,
of them.
but
I want all of them,
okay,
Tyler.
so this one's crazy because I applied and I can't remember where I had to go somewhere to fax it because I didn't have a fax machine. So I went and faxed it and I drove home and I was home for between driving to fax it and getting home, it was like 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And the house phone was ringing and it was Ensign out of Nisku, Alberta. And they were like, okay, we got your resume. I'm like, I literally just faxed it. Like I literally just walked in the door and they're like, okay, so you don't want a job or what? And I said, no, I want a job. And we need you to come to Nisku. I said, okay, what am I coming to Nisku for? Oh, you got to do physical. I said, well, you realize I'm in Brandon. Like Nisku, Alberta is a long bloody way to get a physical, right? I said, hold on a second. I got to ask you a question here. Like, why are you calling me so quickly? Like, what is going on here? And she says, we get all kinds of resumes for 17 and 18-year-old kids. And she's like, when yours came through, 23 years old, journeyman mechanic, she said, we want to hire people like you, like right now. We don't want to mess around. I'm like, okay, well, if you don't want to mess around, you find me a physical in Brandon and we'll be working. So
well done, sir.
So that was about 4:00 in the afternoon. She called me back first thing the next morning. I had a physical booked at noon in Brandon at some random place downtown.
A little more convenient, yeah.
Did the old, do a couple push-ups, do a couple sit-ups. Can you hold my hands up? Pee in the cup, just all that kind of stuff. And I was literally working on the rig that night at 11 o'clock out by Griffin. Like it was that fast of a turnaround.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so like right now?
Right now.
Yeah. You're living alone at this point?
No, I was with my wife at that time.
Christy,
with Christy at that time. So we, she wasn't too thrilled with it, but once she started seeing the paychecks rolling in, like it's rig money's good money, right?
She's been super awesome with your careers, and we'll get into it because Tyler was a big part of the sprayer sector in New Holland, which acquired a lot of traffic. She's been awesome, eh?
Oh yeah, what she's had to put up with is a lot of
just a beauty of a check too. Yeah.
So just did that. There's really nothing much to talk about. Working rigs, it's slinging pipe.
It is what it is. Yeah,
throwing tongs on and tightening pipe and loosening pipe, and it's all the same every day, right? So then an opportunity came about a year later. We were getting married that summer, and so we get married in July, and it was roughly about March, April, and I got an opportunity to apply for New Holland as a territory service rep. And so applied for the job and wasn't sure if I was going to get it. And it took about a month. Like it was a process.
David, the phone wasn't ringing when you drove home from faxing?
Yeah, it wasn't that fast this time. So they like to have a lot of interviews working for New Holland Corporate, CNH, I guess you call it. So had to do multiple interviews, but they were doing background checks, all that kind of stuff. And then so I was presented with an offer, and of course, way less money than what I was making, right? But it was more of okay, I'm getting married. She's going to want to start having kids here right away. Rig life is not the life for me. So it's, let's just start down the road and build a career, right? So that's kind of how it shook out. And
that's that was your entrance into New Holland, yeah. So how'd you find that job with New Holland?
Okay, so interesting. My wife worked at Gill Insurance in Brandon. And she worked with, I don't know if I should drop names here, but she worked with Angie Johnson, which is Kevin's wife. So, we would be at staff parties in prior years and stuff. And he's like, oh, you should come work for New Holland. And he was always pestering me to do it. Well, he was the service rep and he moved over to the sales side. So then they kind of tasked him, hey, you got to find your replacement. So
I know a guy.
That's how I got. Yeah, that's literally how it was. It's because I don't know how else you would have found that. that job, right? Like
I don't know how they post for him or anything like that.
You physically have to go on their site and look all the time if that's the company you want to go work for. Yeah. So I would have never done that, right?
Yeah.
So
interesting point you make up here. If there's any New Holland people thinking and they're looking for people to work for them, it's kind of hard to find you to apply for your jobs.
Yes, when you just post where people have to find you.
That's right. Yeah. Like who would think to go there?
Yeah.
You'd have to be you'd have to be in your mind, I want to work for New Holland.
Yep.
And then go to their site. And nobody thinks of that.
That's right. 100%.
Anyway, yeah. Well, it's funny because I don't know when the time was, but when you got that job with New Holland, I remember looking over, I was in the office where, in Brandon, who's up there right now. It's right at the top of the stairs. It's one of the business managers.
Oh, that's
Val.
Kendra.
Kendra. Oh, so
Val's moved down. Okay.
Oh, okay. I was just musical chairs there. I'm never going to keep up in that Brandon office anymore. So Kendra.
Yep.
Kendra is there now. So I was in that office. I saw the door open, and you walked in. And I don't know if you remember me, but like I looked at you, I was like, I was in River Heights with that guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we went to school together.
Yes, we did go to school. I was like, I know him.
Yeah.
So anyway, you introduced yourself, and like, you were the rep for the sprayers, and I think like Miller had just come on the New Holland radar at that point. Did they not?
No. So my first 3 years were as a territory service rep.
Yeah.
Sprayers were.
Okay, then maybe that wasn't the time.
That was a different time.
Yeah. You walked in with spray. You were looking after the sprayers. I believe.
That would have been 3 years later.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
That's when you walked in, and I was like, I know him. Yeah, we have history.
So here's a real, I don't know, kind of.
This is perfect.
We like doing funny stories and stuff, but this is a good one. So I got, as part of your initial training with New Holland, you have to go to New Holland, Pennsylvania, and you have to take the hay tool training.
Yeah.
Every employee at that time, I don't know what it's like now, but at that time it was, you got to go run a baler, you got to go run a disc bine, a hay bine, big square baler.
Typically like Warren would have to go.
Yes.
Like for our listeners, we just met a New Holland employee who is our TBM.
Yep.
Territory business manager who looks after all the Mazergroup locations, who just came aboard. So he would have to go.
He would have to go at that time.
At that time. Yeah. Don't know if you have to do that anywhere.
So they have there's a mushroom farm down there, the mushroom farm that supplies mushrooms to all the Pizza Huts in Pennsylvania, or a section of Pennsylvania. So New Holland had a deal with them, and they would cut all their hay for them, and then that hay gets churned up and turned into mulch and then heated, and that's what they used in their boxes to grow their mushrooms. So anyways, I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but I was traveling down to Philadelphia, because that's where you have to fly into to get to New Holland, Pennsylvania, where the plant is. And I pulled up to the rental car Enterprise.
Yep.
And I remember I was going to rent a car, and the guy was standing there, and he says, "Oh, sir, I can't rent you a car." And I said, "Well, why is that?" And he says, "Well, you're 24 years old. You have to be 25 to rent a car."
What?
I stood there in disbelief, like,
yeah,
oh my God, I just got this new job and I can't even get
to where I'm supposed to go.
Like, is this an Enterprise thing, or is it? No, that's policy for all rental cars. You have to be 25 years old. Yeah. What? Insanity. So I said, well, I need a car.
I didn't know that rule existed.
I
had no idea.
But maybe a lot of under 25-year-olds don't go traveling around renting cars. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was too young. I have no idea what was going on.
What do you do?
So I finally negotiated with the guy. He put $1,000 on my credit card and said, if it comes back wrecked, I'm taking this $1,000. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Like it is what it is. But anyway, that's my funny story.
Oh, it's hilarious. So you almost didn't have a ride from.
I almost didn't have a ride. I had to negotiate for probably a good hour before that guy would give me the car and talk to his boss and supervisor. And
you would have to hop in a horse and carriage with the Amish down there.
Well, you're right. But I would have had to get to that area first before I could get on, but because it's a good hour and 20-minute drive. So, yeah.
It's a crazy, like with the Amish, like, they're their own people, and it's like their culture and stuff. But I mean, it's the fact that life is still like horse and carriage, like no cars, everything. And you go down there and
so I was down in Pennsylvania many, many, many times. And the scariest is going in there at night, like getting a late flight into there and then having to drive out, because they are on the road and those roads are skinny. Like, people's decks are like right on the road. Like their front porches are basically right on the road. There's no front lawns. It's 2-lane. There's no shoulder, and it's windy and up and down and through. Yeah. Like, if you've ever been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And at nighttime, you come around a corner and up over a dip, and boom,
they're there.
There's a cart and buggy right there, and it scares the shit out of you, because you can't go ripping around because there's another car coming head on, right? So you just take her easy.
You got to watch. And like whoever produces the cars down, I'm sure there's a couple manufacturers, I don't know what but I mean, like they've also made them to comply with the rules down. Like they have turn signals.
Yes. They got these little flashing red lights on them, like little bicycle lights, on the back of a bike. So
because they have to abide by some rules of the law if they're going to be on the paved roads. Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see if like you've never been around that kind of like culture before. It's just like, like you're ripping by them on the car and they're still like, we got to make sure we go home and make sure the horse's shoes are all good to go. And we just got to check fuel gauge, make sure she starts. Yeah. Oh, maybe horse and buggy's the way to go. You never know. Okay. So that was entrance into New Holland.
So that was entrance into New Holland Road. So then I covered Mazergroup at that time, and I also covered a couple other dealer locations at that time. Actually, stores that we've purchased along the way.
Yeah, and this is the service job.
This was a service job.
Gotcha,
So started in 2007.
Gotcha.
So I did that for 3 years, and then New Holland was in the works of building a partnership with Miller, the sprayer company out of St. Nausea in Wisconsin. And they didn't purchase them right off the bat. It was more of a supply. We'll build them for you, paint them blue, put Holland decals on them at that point in time. And so they were looking for a couple marketing managers. And of course, that CNH website that to go look on to find the jobs. I was always kind of looking at that
of course,
to see what was going on. And so applied for that position. Got hired pretty quickly, me and another guy. But what we found out right away was that those marketing jobs, they wanted to take North America and they just wanted to cut it right in half. And you go this way and you go this way. So people always ask me, well, when they say North America cut in half, what are you talking about here? And I would say, okay, so I was covering some dealers in Saskatchewan, all of Manitoba, and then I would do North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and then kind of draw an angle line down from there, Carolinas, Kentucky, Florida, and then the whole Eastern Canada. So PEI, I was out at PEI lots. I was in Quebec lots. So when I think about that position, what I think about, it was one of the more gratifying jobs because it was a new product. We hadn't sold anybody any yet. And all my job was to run around and demo them and help dealers get set up and train dealers on how to sell them, do clinics, go to farm shows, just run around and have fun. It was just, every phone call was a good phone call. There was no, this is broken and what the hell, you guys, how come you can't get this fixed? It was just, hey, when can you come out and help us get going? And it was
it's just all good news, feel good stuff. Right?
Absolutely. It was just 3 years of just fun. And so my son was born at that time. And my wife was pregnant with my daughter kind of right when I first started that. And after 3 years, I started to realize that, I was leaving on a Monday, flying to, say, Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky, spending the week there, flying on Saturday up to Pennsylvania to the dealer up there, doing my laundry on Sunday at the dealer on Monday, spend the week with him, flying up to PEI on Saturday again. So I haven't been home. I'm just
this is like you're going on week 3 almost.
Yeah. Now. So I'm just jet setting. And so there was multiple times where, I would do 3 and 4. So, and one time was 5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Just on the road, constant, away from the family.
Oh, so short of doing a tour in Afghanistan, you were gone.
Yeah. A little more funner than that, but
Of course. Yeah. It's a frame of reference. I mean, those are 6-month tours or whatever they are, but wow.
So I was enjoying myself. If I was a single guy, great job for a single guy, absolutely great job for a single guy or gal. But it was, it was interesting because you had to, I was constantly calling the finance department because they only give you so much money on your credit card. I was just blowing it. It was between flights and meals and hotels, right?
Yeah.
And so there was one year, the last year I did it, I started to keep track, and I took 110 flights that year.
In 1 year?
In 1 year. So sometimes you might have took 4 flights to get somewhere,
of course,
there and back or whatever, but I kept track of them the 1 year because I wanted to see how much I actually was traveling. And then I had 251 nights just in Holiday Inns.
Just in Holiday Inns.
Yeah, and there
was
some
364 days in 65, 64, whatever.
And there was some other times I wasn't in a Holiday Inn, so that was my hotel of choice.
Yeah.
But
that's crazy.
That was
250 crazy. Nights.
Yeah.
Holy man. So so there's some mega time away from home.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, I don't know if we mentioned it, he was looking after the new sprayer line for New Holland. So it was a new high clearance sprayer for us. I don't know. We don't say much about that, but I mean, new high clearance sprayer for New Holland. Yeah. His job was to promote it. And so 3 years is up.
3 years was up. So then I had watched, just continued to watch for positions. I wasn't in any hurry to get out of there, but I kind of committed to the wife that, okay, time to
switch it up,
get her a little closer to home. Right. So, just so happened about maybe 2 weeks after that conversation, all of a sudden the territory, sales manager in Manitoba left.
Yep.
And so positioned in Brandon, right where I live. Holy crap. been with the company now for 6 years. This should be an easy transition. And yeah, sure enough, told my boss that, look, I got to go home, and he got it. So transitioned back to Brandon, and then turned into the sales rep did that for my last 4 years with CNH. So
those were the glory days.
That covered Mazergroup, right?
Yeah. So well, fuck, did you ever? It was just, for our listeners, it was our glory days, because like, I'm gonna say it's safe to say until now we haven't had a business manager work for New Holland like Tyler. Like, it just, he was there, you communicated, like, as we just told this new guy, there's like two things to success within Mazergroup for this business manager position through New Holland, and that's just communicate and be there.
Yep.
And you did both of those like to wits end, which was awesome. So yeah, can I talk about this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. So you're looking after Mazergroup, all of our stores. I'm doing a bit of business with you on the construction side, so that was a lot of fun. And then I think did you get an offer, or did you look? I think they tried to rob you, did they?
Yeah. So what happened, I guess, right at the end, I had really no intentions of leaving.
Yeah.
I was satisfied with the position, satisfied with everything part of the career, and CNH is not a bad company to work for by any means. And so my boss had moved on to a different position, and they had brought in somebody new. And there was a little bit of turmoil at that time. A couple people had left in Western Canada. So I was backfilling and helping and covering dealers in Alberta, and just, doing.
The boss that left was
Mitch.
Yes.
Mitch Smith.
Dip Mitch.
Yeah, Dip Mitch. He'd have his spit bottle here right now. That's all you hear on the mic,
like
right?
in the highest ranking of meetings, we'd be in that boardroom, and he'd have a spit. And God bless him, because it's just whatever, like we didn't care.
He doesn't. Obviously, he didn't care.
No, right? He did not give a shit. And it was like,
just to confirm, boys, we're talking about chewing tobacco.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we are. Yeah, producer Jay needed a clarification there, but yes, this gentleman would come in and throw a I don't know if it was a Franco Fenolio meeting, but there was like a higher ranking CNH executive in the room, and Mitch is just there spitting in that. Was it
Gatorade bottle?
Yes, it's see-through too.
See-through. So we always told him, get a chocolate milk bottle or like a white milk or something where you can't see it.
Oh man, it was something. Yeah, because it looks like an ashtray is what it looks like, or a watered out ashtray, and like he's spitting into it. So, oh man, yeah. Anyway, So Mitch left.
They hired, I won't say Jonah's name, but they hired a guy. He was short term. And so he came on, and I could kind of feel he was a bit over his head. And he says to me one day, he says, you're doing a good job. He says, why don't you just cover the Alberta dealers? And I'm like, holy crap. Like, I just got away from that 4 years ago, all this extra traveling. And I said, well, I can do it short term for you. Like, I'll definitely help out, but I'm not, this isn't permanent. And he said, no, we need to make it permanent. And I said, okay, well, let me talk to my wife. And if I'm going to go out there 2 weeks a month, I know she needs to understand that. And I said, I need to understand what my compensation is going to be, because I'm doing two people's job, right? So right away he said, yeah, there is no extra compensation. That's your job.
Peace out,
that was
homie.
The end of that.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I did have some people reaching out to me. So all I had to do was just open that door. Within a week, I had an offer to go work for another company.
Yep.
But here's the interesting thing about this whole thing. And I don't know if I ever told you this, but I had the offer in my hand and I hadn't signed it. I was contemplating, like, is this really what I want to do? Because I'm not, there's a lot of people in our generation that are jumpers.
Oh yeah.
Jump, just jobs. And I looked at myself like I haven't had a lot of jobs in my career. Like, I pulled wrenches, the rig thing, whatever. I don't really count that. That's just a blip in the radar.
You did it. It was a year, right?
It was a year, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I had, a good solid 10 plus years with CNH, and do I really want to do this? So that night I was sitting on the couch, and this is like at, I don't know, right at the end of the day, 4:30, 5 o'clock or whatever. And Bob Mazer calls me on my cell phone. He says, I need to see you tomorrow. I said, okay, that's no problem. Like, this is normal stuff, right? Like, he was kind of acting as the sales manager stuff at the time, like doing a lot of that kind of stuff.
Shepard had just left, I think.
Yeah, so Brad was there.
Brad was there.
But Bob's engaged. Like,
of course,
he's into everything, right? So he'll be listening to this, but anyway.
It's good. It's awesome.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
So I said, oh yeah, what time? And he says, well, come in early, like 7:30. I'm like, oh, that's kind of strange. Like, he never does that, right? That's kind of. So I went in and sat down and was talking to him. And he says, what are you doing? So what are you talking about? He said, are you leaving? And I'm like, leaving what? Because I'm playing dumb, right? Like,
yeah. Like having to play dumb.
Yeah.
Like, and nobody knows
Yeah.
that I'm holding this offer.
And so I don't know how that circled back. I still don't to this day
That's crazy.
understand how that circled back to him. But anyway, he just said, where are you going? And I told him who the company was or whatever. And he said, is that what you want to do? And I said, well, I think I got to get out of CNH. I think I've expired my time there. And told him the reasons why. And he said, don't do anything just yet. He said, let me and Brad talk. He says, we need to, Mazergroup is restructuring here a little bit. You know, because I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, you got all your regional managers hired. I don't want to be a sales guy. That wasn't my forte. So I've thought to myself, if I'm not going to be a manager, I don't know what you're going to do for me, but I had no idea what he was thinking. He just said, let me talk to Brad. So I went home, just did my job, whatever, for that morning. And Brad called me 11 in the morning. Like, it wasn't very long after. And he says, need you to come in. So I go back in the truck.
Was it the morning that you went in 7:30, went home, and then came back at 11?
Like, this is like the rig story all over again. Like, it's like part 2.
Got home and the phone was ringing.
Yeah.
Come back, report back.
Yeah. So went in and sat down with Brad. And Brad said, he says, I talked to Bob, and he said, we need another layer between me and the regionals. He says, I'm as VP of sales and marketing. He says, I got a lot of other things that I need to focus on. And he says, I'm just getting a bit overwhelmed. And he says, we just need another layer. And he says, so we'd like to offer you a position as a sales director. And so, of course, I had lots of questions. So what does that mean? And all these guys that I've called on for all these years, I'm now going to be their boss. And, like, it's just a lot of emotions and stuff run through my head as to, well, this is kind of a cool offer because I can still get to travel, but I get to work at home in Brandon. And then I, working for CNH, you always had a home office, right? And for as fun as a home office is, and I know, like, since COVID and a lot of people work from home, there's still something about working in an office.
Absolutely, there is.
Because I don't think I want to go back to working at home.
No,
I think I like being around people and having somewhere to go in the morning. And
for me, it's an engagement thing.
Yeah.
Like, you go to the office and you're turned on turned on to work.
Yeah. And
it's just the switch goes on. And then when you leave the doors and get in the truck and know you're going home, you can switch that off. Yeah. That's what it is for me.
Okay.
And like at home, like if I ever tried to pull I have before, obviously, when you have to, but like you try to pull your laptop out at home, even if you have to do something, it's one thing. But if it's just like, oh, I got to go to work today, like it's just so easy to wander, like, because you're at home.
That's right.
Everything, all the creature comforts at home. Like,
house coat, drink your coffee, and you're sitting at your home desk, right, at like 10:30 in the morning, sweating because you're sitting in your house. You drank a whole pot of coffee. Like, you're getting lots done. Don't get me wrong, but
absolutely.
But there's no interaction there at all.
No,
like, it's just you're in your room, doing your thing, right?
So,
so anyway, back to Brad. He laid out this offer for me, and I didn't really have to think of it too long. Actually, you know what? I don't even think I talked to my wife about it. I just said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And I just made the call right there, and Brad said, sign right here. And I just remember, okay. And I just signed. And I slid the paper back. I'll never forget him. And he says, we got you now.
That comment came out of Pops' mouth too. It was like, we're not letting that fucking guy go anywhere.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Yeah, because I remember them talking about that. And it was a great day. Yeah, and then there was there's more office shuffling. At the dealership.
There was more.
Because then you sat in that one office, and you've been there. You've the same office.
No, I was upstairs for just
were you?
About 3 weeks, and Bob walked in one morning, and he says, "This isn't working." Yeah, and I almost fucking fell off my chair because I'm like, oh, the position's not working. He's like, no, you being up here is not working. I'm like, okay, scared the shit out of me.
3 weeks in. Yeah. No, we made a mistake here. Yeah, you got to go.
He says, you got to move downstairs. I'm like, okay, so.
And that was a good move. There, because like that, it kind of, you call it the bullpen back there or whatever. There's just lots of sales and stuff. And I believe it was Randy Ty that moved out, who was looking after inventory.
So we swapped. He went upstairs. Because you were downstairs.
I was downstairs. I was in Blair's office, which should have been a sales. I don't know why I was there. Maybe it was to keep an eye on me. I'm not sure about it. Whatever. Yeah. It worked. It worked. Well,
So one real positive thing I remember about that whole thing was after I signed the contract, Brad looked at me and he says, so what do you want to do? And I said, well, give me a month with CNH. But I said, in the meantime, I said, give me a cell phone so that I can start seeing emails and things happening. Get me on your email list, get me a laptop, you know, because I wasn't using Iron HQ, right? I kind of had an idea, but I said, at least gives me a month to play around with it in the evenings and get myself understanding before I just show up here unannounced, right?
Yep.
And so anyways, Brad called IT down there, Steve IT.
Yep.
And I'll never forget this because I was just so impressed that he said, okay, here's your laptop. Like came down, and then within an hour I had a laptop. And he said, before the end of the day, I'm going to have a cell phone for you. So like literally signed this contract. Like they're just giving me all this stuff. And I'm like, holy crap. And
Yeah.
so I came home and threw it on the table, showed my wife. I said, I guess I'm working for Mazergroup now. And she's like, I think it kind of just went over her head, right? Because she's like, well, you do kind of, you call on them or whatever. And I'm like, no. Like I'm actually going to work there now. I'm quitting at CNH.
Yeah.
So
What did she say?
she's pretty happy.
Yeah.
She was pretty like obviously hesitant at start, like, oh my God, what's happening? But yeah, it's for sure. It's been good. I knew what I was getting myself into, and for the most part.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, that's kind of the story of my.
That's from front to back.
That's probably 30 minutes of me
it's good.
away there. But
about 20 minutes right now.
Okay,
that's what I wanted though.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
it was perfect. Yeah, and then so you're 6 years in now, and obviously you've seen a lot of changes through Mazergroup. You've seen expansion. You've seen position changes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lots of. There's been lots of, if anything in the egg business is lots of change, and you just got to learn how to adapt and have some urgency and just go at it. Right. And, I've been pretty fortunate with people. I knew coming in, there was a couple guys that I needed to change, and I was upfront with that actually before I even signed the contract that, there's some team members here that I think need to go and we need to make some changes. And I think everybody was happy with that. And
absolutely.
And so we just, that took a year. That was about a year process to kind of work through all that stuff. But, the team that you've groomed here right now, I think is, we're pretty fortunate really, like got lots of experience and lots of history. And
we got a lot of good people.
We got a lot of good people.
Like awesome guys too.
Yeah.
Like bros. We'll call them bros. Yeah. Like the RSM meetings are like a national holiday for us.
Yeah.
For me anyway, like I can't wait for them.
Yeah.
And that's regional sales manager meetings to our listeners, which involve all of our RSMs, regional sales managers, Tyler and I, and our boss, Brad. Sometimes Dad makes an appearance, but it's usually like win one for the team and don't fuck up, and then he leaves.
Yeah, that's right. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Yeah. And I'm out. Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome that you stayed in the industry, because like I was going to ask you I guess you were going to stay there. Like, was there any ever thought of leaving egg? No.
Not that.
Like it didn't cross your mind, like, hey, maybe I should pursue this, or like I guess this is what you've done for the last up until
it would be either egg point. Or construction. I would have never left one of those two. But no, always been egg.
Yeah. Is there anything that's scaring you in the industry right now?
Interest rates scare me a little bit with guys. I think most equipment purchasers are just kind of bulldozing through that whole interest rate thing at this point in time. I've been keeping a real close eye on, just how many quotes are going into our system every day. And, things seem to be continuing to chum right along. But when you say scare me, do I see a brick wall way out in the distance coming our way? I just don't know how fast it's going to get here. I think things are going to slow down. I don't think this is the norm. What's going on right now in the egg industry, but
because I can agree with you, like the last year and a half has been fucking magical.
Well, I told Brad, I said it's to me, it started in December of 2020. That's when it started for me. Yeah. That's when I felt like, holy crap, we are selling a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Things are just flying off the shelves. And it kind of started with the consumer stuff. Like, we couldn't stock a skid steer or a compact tractor or a Toro zero turn, like any of that smaller stuff. We were just cruising right through, right? So then it was like the tractors, and then everything else just started blowing up after that. But it's just progressively you're right, it's been in the last little while that you're thinking or whatever, it's really exploded. But like I said, I felt it in December of 2020. So to me, it's been
you're coming on 3 years
on 3 years of just good market conditions.
And good conditions for us, like as a dealer, like
Yep.
as a dealer complex. Like we've never been this healthy, I'll say, inventory wise.
Yep.
We've never been in a position where like begging New Holland for inventory.
Yep.
Like, I mean, like whatever you can give us, we'll take.
Yeah, and we're I think we're at like a funny time right now with our manufacturers, because they're telling us that they're kind of, like, for most products they're telling us that they're quite a ways out, but I think they're catching up. Like I think we have to caution ourselves onto how much iron we're going to order, because if what they were telling us was true and the inventory was that far out, we would have no issue ordering, because we know we're going to sell through the stuff that we have. But what scares me the most is all of a sudden the light switch goes off and they say, hey, we got lots of production now, we got lots of room, let's go. And then boom, we got all this inventory all at once.
Yeah.
Because they won't commit the dates.
No.
When they can build it, they want to wholesale it out, right?
Yep.
So we've seen it a little bit so far, and that's a bit scary, but the market conditions have still been good enough that we're working through that inventory. So it's not hurting us per se.
No. Yeah. Sorry, I was texting wife back here. She's phoning me. Well, it's, yeah, I hope it's not a brick wall.
No.
But I mean, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the heaven and glory phase, like, I mean, you'd think it would wear off sometime, because it is an ebb and flow industry.
Yep.
You know, like, I mean, it's, you know, I think we're on a high, and it's, you know, to use your words, starting in December of 2020, and kind of we're still in it right now. Interest rates have climbed since then, obviously. Yep. So we're fighting that. But yeah, we're healthy. We're, like, from an inventory standpoint, we'll take anything New Holland can get. We're going to see some changes in some of the product here right away. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking we can talk about that. Like, there's going to be a blue quad track, which we've been excited about for a long time. And so
combines are coming with new styling next year.
Yeah.
So that's kind of phase one is what they're telling us. So they're just starting with the new styling. There are some upgrades and stuff, but the next benchmark for the combines is 25 is what we're being told. So we don't know what that looks like yet, but
no. Yeah.
But the new combines for 24 are going to look different.
Yes.
Shielding wise.
Yeah.
And I think they look great.
I think they look awesome too. I saw that one picture. I know what you're talking about, and they look unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. And I think anybody that was worried, I don't know if anybody was worried, but we're past the point of a purple brand. Do you think?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope
and
so.
for our listeners, what we're talking about, what Tyler and I are talking about, is if you mix blue and red together, you get purple. Blue being New Holland and red being Case, both owned by the same company, CNHI. Yep. So, you know, you just wonder, because, I mean, the industry, there's been changes in the industry, and we've lost brands to, whether it be acquisitions by other brands, or so. I hope that doesn't happen, because I think New Holland's got a great thing going. You know, like, I mean, we're segmented well in the combines with our CR, with our twin rotor technology, and then, you know, we've been playing catch up in technology a little bit, but I think we'll get there.
Yeah. No, I think, like, I've been keeping a real close eye on the States, because it seems like whatever happens in the States kind of happens a year later in Canada. So I think what I'm reading and seeing out there is that things are slowing down in the States a little bit. Yeah. And we're starting to see, like, our territory rep asking us, hey, do you want to bring some equipment up from the US? They're kind of overloaded. And that thought, like, to us, that's insanity. Like, we would never let anything go at this moment in time. Right. So we got to be cautious with that kind of stuff for sure. So we're just, like I said, we're in a real weird moment right now. A year ago, we would order as much as we can from anybody we could, right? Just to get some inventory in the lot and some stuff for the sales guys to sell. But I think we're at a point right now where, we got to keep ordering, but maybe just take a little bit more closer look at what
proceed
we're
with
doing
caution, as you said.
Proceed with caution. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. When are you going to become an owner? You know how I work at that. You don't have to answer. You got to be shareholder of Mazergroup, though, because then we really got you.
I have talked to Bob about that, actually.
Oh, good.
So
okay, we can leave it at that. That's fine.
We have talked about that for sure.
Because I told you right at the start of your career, we're growing old together. So whether you like it or not,
I'm good with that. Like I said earlier on, I don't like jumping around, right? So
when I tell you, when Brad and Pop said they got you, they fucking well meant it, because I'm in too. I was in that whole hurrah, let's get Tyler, not let him go and tie him up and blindfold him and he's staying. So,
Well, John, we're the next generation here, right?
we are absolutely. Yeah.
So
Absolutely. On a very serious note, like, yes.
you're a young guy. I'm a young guy. Like
Yep.
I look at us as and I look at the team that we have, and we're all pretty young.
Yep.
We're all pretty young guys, right?
Yep. And we all love what we do.
Yeah, that's right. So it's exciting
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. It is super exciting. Yeah. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. I think we should, because I'm going to have you on again.
Okay.
Let's stop business talk for a bit.
Okay.
And I want to get producer Jay involved, if that's possible.
Of course.
Awesome. You've been pretty quiet, except for the dip comment.
Yeah, I just needed to know exactly what you were referring to.
Okay.
Someone's spitting. I was just like, okay, I think I know what he means.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like it would be as bad as me dipping. Well, it's actually worse than that. Because I mean, like, there's this whole like meeting etiquette, I believe. Like it's an unwritten kind of club rules, you know? Like, I mean, he dips in a fucking meeting.
yeah, that's
every time. Like,
that's the first time I've heard of that.
Yeah.
But you know what? If it's authentic, I don't mind it.
yes, it was Mitch. You would then after the first two meetings, you wouldn't expect any different.
No, that's what he did.
Yeah,
that was his.
And I think he did comply and get like a non-see-through cup.
I think after a while, somebody did say something to him. Yeah,
They had
times.
to. Yeah, like spitting a styrofoam cup.
All right. Well, here's what's going to happen. So I'm going to be in charge of this fun stuff today because Johnny, you know, he bears a lot of the weight around here running everything. So I got a couple segments here we're going to have. First one I'm going to do is overrated, underrated. So I'm just going to give you something, and I want to hear from both of you. Is it overrated, properly rated, or underrated? Number one, ordering a steak at a steakhouse.
Underrated.
Properly rated.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Okay. So let's just explain. Okay, you know, we don't have to get into detail about it, but like, I'm just like, as soon as Jay said that, I was picturing myself at a Ruth's Chris, like a proper steakhouse, and ordering like a ribeye or a petite filet or something, and thinking about that, going like, but then, you know, like if I go to a keg or something like that, it's like a whatever.
Yeah.
So many people I know just say I'd rather barbecue my own steak.
Okay, no, I'm not that way.
Okay.
No.
I like barbecuing a steak, but I really like being served.
Yeah, I like I can cook a mean steak, but
Yes.
I just like when someone cooks it for me and I don't have to do I don't have to do the work.
Yeah. So properly rated.
Yeah.
I like that answer. There's a third category. I love it. Yeah.
Okay. So next one is IPA beer, India Pale Ale.
Over.
Under.
Wow. Here we go.
Underrated.
Fuck. Oh, I hate beer though. Like, so yeah, and you're a beer drinker, and then IPA. What does IPA stand for?
India Pale Ale.
Oh, fuck. Well, you lost me at I, and there's two other consonants after that. Actually, one consonant, one vowel.
So here's my spiel on beer.
Okay.
And I'm not Randy Ty here talking about how they grow in the hops and whatever.
Yeah.
I like trying different beers. I like going into the liquor store and just grabbing the cart or grabbing the little 16-pack tray and just don't know what this is, but it looks good. Try. Kind of find your favorites. And then you never go back and buy a whole bunch of your favorites. You just know the next time I'm going to grab two of these instead of one.
Right.
But my problem is that it's heavier. Like you're drinking a heavier beer, right? So I can go on it kind of for 6 months. And then I drink like Sleeman 2.0s and Coronas for 6 months. Like I have to lighten it back.
You got to smooth it out.
Yeah, I got to smooth it out. And then I kind of get sick of those, and then I'm back in the liquor store. Oh, let's try some IPAs again, and then I get back into that. So it's more of I think it's a winter thing for me.
Gotcha.
I drink the heavier beers in the winter.
Well, people are IPA fans. They're really hoppy. They're really bitter. They're really flavorful. But some people are just like, I just want a smooth beer. Yeah. And there's like this whole underground culture of IPA beers. So some people are like, nah, I'm not into that. And some people are like, I really love that flavorful beer. But there's so many different flavors out there that's, if you like to try different beers, if you're not a man of habit, then IPAs are very popular.
Well, I got to tell you that, like, I mean, I'm just not a beer guy, and hearing the way both of you talk, like, I wish I was. And like, because I mean, like, it sounds awesome to try these different kinds of beers, but like, going back for me, like back in the Clear Lake Maylong days when you were spending, well, it was Maylong, so you might have been up there, but I was 16 years old, like, I shouldn't be saying this, but like my parents knew, like we go get a keg of beer and take it to the lake, and like the plan was to finish it over a weekend, right? Well, here I am forcing myself at age 16 to drink beer, and like, I mean, I can't get that out of my head. Yeah. And I can taste it right now talking about it, and it's making my skin quiver and burping it and feeling like a bloated asshole, and like forcing myself just to get drunk. Like, I mean, it wasn't social. I was like, somebody do a cake stand, you know, and like, let's do you had the beer. Yeah, I was just, anyway, I wish I liked beer.
So here's a cool little thing. 2 winters ago,
Yeah.
my son was playing AA hockey, which is in Winnipeg. So we were
Yeah.
on a bus every weekend going in and out of Winnipeg. And one of the mums on the bus was a IPA craft beer drinker. And it was about halfway through the season, we were kind of sitting on the bus and I said, hey, you ever tried one of these? And she's like, no. So I passed and she's like, she pulls one out of her cooler and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then all of a sudden it morphed into, okay, I'll go buy 4 for you and you buy 4 that you like.
Oh.
And you know what was crazy about the whole thing was that pretty much, I would call it like 85, 90% of the time, whatever she bought me, I'd never tried. And it was the same with her.
Really?
Anything I bought her, she's like, oh, I never tried this one. Oh, I never tried this one. And they were like, you just got the,
Yeah.
it's not something I would have, I look at the can, I'm like, I would have never picked that off the shelf.
Yeah.
But she's like, it's delicious. You need to try it. And I'm like, you're right. It's delicious.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
This is
So-
awesome.
So that was just,
Yeah.
anyway, just a quick story.
Well,
about
that's
craft,
awesome.
like,
Yeah. And you can't really do, like, I'm thinking, I'm trying to relate to with wine, but like, you can't just buy somebody 4 bottles of wine and say, try all of them right now.
Yeah.
Because you've got 4 bottles of wine there. Like, this is a drink.
Yeah.
You know, like one beer is a drink.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll get there one. You never know. Like,
Never.
I didn't like wine until I was like mid-20s. And I was just a Ryan Coke guy until then. And my brother was sitting there, my younger brother was sitting at the dinner table drinking it with my parents. I'm like, it's gross. But then I finally got like, oh, it's like, all of a sudden it was good with food. And then I found wines that like a super light Pinots that you could just drink if you just wanted to drink, right? So anyway, that's my wine story, like more from beer.
I love it.
Next, overrated, underrated.
Okay, overrated, underrated, properly rated. Limousines.
You go first in this one.
I'm going to say overrated.
Underrated. They're so badass, man.
Oh.
Like, limousines are so fucking badass. Like picking you up, you know, like if, you know, the Jordan Belfort, he has one every day. You've probably seen the Wolf of Wall Street, but like when wifey and I go on trips, like always get a limo. You got to get a limo from the airport to the.
Yeah, but just get like a Uber XL. Like
what the hell's good with that? What?
Well,
It's
not a big, long rig. Or
No, it's
whatever,
not.
but-
Yeah, we
but
need
they're always
that.
nice. That's all
You
I
need to tell
I just
wherever
need
you.
clean.
You need to tell the hotel and whatever city you're landing in that you are there, and they're like, "Oh, there's a limousine.
Thought doesn't. cross
John
my
and
mind,
Logan
John.
are here."
Oh, okay, we're on different ends of the spectrum.
that's right.
No,
Yeah.
I like this. I like this.
Yeah.
One time I took a limousine in Vancouver to a hotel and I sat backwards in it. So,
Yep.
and little did I know that sitting backwards facing the other way in a
Yep.
limousine can actually take
It'll
off.
fuck with
Your,
you, yeah.
your equilibrium goes off.
Yep.
So I got out of that limo and I vomited everywhere.
Oh, so you're
in
like
front of,
super overrated then? You think?
I'm not a big limousine guy, party bus guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit better.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not picking up a limousine unless I have to.
Okay. We can sit in the back seat though, man.
Yeah.
I'll remember that.
I better face forward with
Yeah,
the
that's
window
right.
down.
Face forward.
Okay, last one for overrated, properly rated, underrated is all-inclusive vacations.
Underrated.
Properly rated.
Yeah, I was
It's
between the
border
two.
on it. Yeah. That's why I don't think it should be there. I don't think that properly should even be there. It's even because I mean that it's properly is almost an out. Like
Yeah.
it's like a no comment.
Yeah, I just agree, and I
You know?
don't
We can
disagree.
change it. We can change it for future.
For choose, there's no properly. You invented that here, so like we've never heard the properly rated before, so it's your fucking fault, Tyler.
And I used it on the first one.
Like the very first one, I'm gonna invent a category here. I say all inclusive, and it's just like I think I don't know about you guys, but my mind goes to like herding cattle at the resort, eat here, swim here, beaches here. Pick 4 restaurants, pick 1 per night. You know, it's just like you're as soon as you're at all inclusive, you're in constraints of what they have at the resort. And like I think trips are meant to be like, you know, let's see what's out there, let's enjoy them, you know.
So
but I'm not dissing them either.
No.
Because I've been on them
Yep.
and I've had a lot of fun.
See, when I go on those types of trips, I just don't want to have to think.
Yeah.
I just want to walk up and give me a beer. What we're eating over here, okay. Like just I don't even want to have to book anything, think about anything. Just and I agree. I know what you're saying.
You don't want to walk into your IPA store and pick out 4 fucking different
No,
beer or anything like that?
I will
or?
drink whatever they give me. I don't
Okay.
care.
Okay. I had to get a shot in there.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, sometimes trips can be a little stressful. I don't mind the ease of an all-inclusive, but both have, exploring the culture into different places, having that freedom.
But you can do that.
Or you can still do
can
that.
still do
You can absolutely do that.
So
Yeah.
maybe, you know what, I would say they're probably underrated. I think a lot of people put too much stress on planning.
Yeah.
their
The
trips.
nice thing about an all-inclusive too, though, is it's like if you only want to spend the cost of the trip, you only have to spend the cost of the trip. I think that's a big, especially with our, in our day and time, or however you want. Like, I mean, if financial constraints bear a burden on some people, so I mean, like, and they have, like, I mean, I'm going through it right now. Like, I mean, it's just like you got to watch what you spend, and like, I mean, if you can budget a trip, to the amount of an all-inclusive, rather than saying this is the flight, this is the hotel, and then just go and then realize, oh my God, I got to rent a limo to get to the hotel. I got to get all my food. I got to get all my beer, my IP beers, whatever. So like, yeah, it can get out of control, out of control. So yeah.
Okay. That's perfect. We're going to go on to blind ranking. So,
Oh boy.
as you both know, I'm going to give you one thing at a time. You got to rank it between 1 and 5, 1 being your favorite, 5 being your least favorite. Once that number's gone, it is gone, and you will not know what's coming. So you have to, and you have no idea what I'm about to talk about.
I don't either.
I feel like this is a trick, and we shouldn't save one for last because he's going to say something.
I did that, but you haven't watched the Michael Carter episode.
No,
we did really quickly. We did this blind ranking for Michael Carter, and it was fast food restaurants, or it was just restaurants in general.
Yeah.
Like, we fucked him bad because he saved the first one.
Yeah.
He saved number 1 till last. He's like, I hope it's good.
Yeah.
Arby's. He had to rank Arby's number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah.
So, you know what? This isn't too bad. You're not gonna be unhappy with any of these. These are trips to take, and I'm gonna caveat this by saying it's not family trips. It's you with whomever you choose.
Okay. So it could be family, could be just your wife. Could
If
be,
you choose family, or
Okay.
it could be you and your best friends, your family, whatever.
Okay.
First one, a France wine tour.
Jesus, I just got back from Italy in May, so we did the wines over there. But
That would have been awesome.
So that's, my brain automatically goes to a higher number right away because I just had that experience, right? So
I'm playing safe and going 3.
yeah, I'm gonna put 3 too.
Oh, you're gonna match. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're putting that right in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Okay, next one is an F1 or an Indy car race of your choice.
That's an easy one for me.
Yeah, I put number 1. That's number 1 for me. The number 1 slot is gone.
I know Johnny is going to be number
The
1.
number 1 slot is gone.
That's 5 for me. Like,
That's 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
My bottom
care.
slot is gone. That's
yeah,
true,
it's over. Yeah, you still got. So I got 1 and 3. Tyler's got 3 and 5
Yeah, so
taken. Okay.
Johnny, you love
Love it. Like
Indy and F1 racing.
I've experienced one F1 race. Indy race, I don't really watch. I'll watch it if it's on, but like, I mean, I'm an Formula 1 fan. Like, well, you heard us talking.
Well, you
at
and Brad
lunch.
get talking. And
Oh yeah. Like we love following what the drivers are doing. I love, we've got Austria coming up this week. I don't know if I'm supposed to reference time on a podcast because, we just watch it whenever. Yeah, it's all good. But Austria is this weekend. That's the Red Bull Ring. So it's Red Bull's home track. So it's a big one. And it's also a sprint race in F1. So there's a little bit of, it adds to the weekend, if you will. So normal F1, can I talk about this? Is this okay?
Go.
Okay, really quickly. A normal F1 weekend, you have practice 1, practice 2, practice 3. Then you have qualifying, which sets the grid, and then you have the race. On a sprint weekend, you have practice 1, then you have qualifying, which sets the grid for the sprint race. Then you have the sprint race, and then you have, which sets the grid for the actual race. So you have practice 1. Maybe there's 2 practices. There's practice 1, qualifying, sprint race, and then I think there's a practice 2 in there, and then race. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like an action-packed, like super weekend. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, we know where Johnny stands.
Yeah, that's right.
The passion there, eh?
Yeah,
the passion.
that's right.
Yeah.
So that's why it's number 1.
Okay,
That's
so
number
we
1.
got 1 and 3 and 3 and 5 taken. So
Yeah.
next one is a southern Thailand beach party vacation. Like in Phuket, like where they pile the beach and they party all night long.
All I'm thinking about right now, and if you could do a shot, can you cut in a shot of this? It's the music video to, oh no, what's the song? Something with you. I'll have to think about it. I just forget I said anything because we have no reference whatsoever. But the music video is a point of view from a guy, and he puts on like almost like a virtual reality helmet.
Okay.
And he puts gloves on and stuff like that. And all of a sudden he wakes up and it was filmed in Thailand, but he's in this beautiful villa. He wakes up and there's like fresh fruit cut for him. And then he jumps in the pool, which overlooks the ocean. And then he's driving downtown on his little scooter. And then he goes to a crystal beach with perfectly blue waters. Like that's what I'm thinking about.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. So that's number 2 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold out number 1. I'm gonna put a number 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you could fuck yourself here.
I could. I know.
Yeah,
This. I feel like this next one is kind of like it's got to be big decision.
So I've got 1, 2, and 3 taken. You have
2.
You have
2, 4, 2, 3, and 2,
5,
3, and 5. I
You
got 1 and 4.
I got 1. You got 1 and 4, and I have 4 and 5 left.
Oh,
I fucked myself.
Okay, we got 2 more.
Okay.
Boston Marathon.
5.
We ain't running, Johnny. We ain't running.
God, let's go watch people run. Like,
yeah, that's got to be my 4.
oh yeah, it has to be your 4
because I already picked my 5. So
you're gonna tell me. So you actually, this is what you just did.
I just did exactly what you told me not to do.
Yeah, you said you'd rather watch people run than watch an F1 car go around a track. That's what you just said.
Yep.
Congratulations, we're no longer friends.
So Tyler, because of your CrossFit training, I tried to add in something that was physical.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're right. Boston Marathon,
Yeah.
That's not exciting.
It's probably my 5 too.
it's not at all. Like
if you're like CrossFit Games, I'd be like, yeah, that's number 1.
Yeah,
I'd do it.
that could be next. You never know. It could be next. But like, yeah, I got to give it to you, producer Jay, though, to throw it in just for his his love.
Can't
of
all be.
CrossFit. 'Cause we never talked about that. I thought we were gonna, but we never talked about what you like outside of work. Because that's for the next episode.
Next time,
yeah.
So the last one is the Olympic Summer Games.
Okay.
Well, I'm okay with 4 with that.
Yeah, I take that as 1. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's not Arby's.
No.
There was no tricks involved.
No. Yeah. Olympic Summer Games.
Summer Games.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Summer Games.
Yeah. I personally would prefer winter over summer, but I mean, Olympics, to go to Olympics would be awesome. I've always said I'd love to take my family to Olympics someday. So hopefully it comes somewhere close. But yeah, no, that's an alright number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not the number 1 I would have picked.
It only happens every 4 years, right? So
It is. Yeah. When is the next games? Do we know?
They usually go on even years.
Even numbers. But
So,
weren't they canceled 2020? Or did they have them in 21? Did they have?
you know what?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
I don't
we
know
will
either.
find the answers to this.
The last, because there was winter games in 14, 18, and there was a winter games last year.
Yes.
There was winter
so
games.
it's 24.
So
24.
It's 24 and 26
Next
coming
summer.
up.
So next summer is the summer games.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got you.
And then 26 will be the next winter games.
Gotcha. That's a long ways away. The new combines will be out by then.
Oh yeah.
No. Tyler, this has been fucking awesome, man.
Hey.
Thank you so much for coming. And I caught Tyler, obviously we're in Regina. I caught Tyler out on a day and I said, we have to sit down and do an episode. We were originally supposed to do it tomorrow morning. Family things happen. You have to go back tonight. There was supposed to be a dinner involved, but it's okay.
Yeah. Next time.
Yeah. Next time we'll get it. Thanks again, man.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man.